Hello, welcome back, y'all. It's Birds of a Feather. It's your girl AJ, the Suburban Princess here, back with Birds of a Feather, the co-ed edition. And who else is part of the co-ed edition but my co-ed, Eddie B?
Eddie
What's
B,
up?
Eddie B, what's going on, AJ? How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Are we finally glad to be over
I'm good.
preseason?
Yeah, and glad the work week is over too.
This
So,
is true. Cheers to Friday.
yeah,
Let's just be honest.
yeah,
TGIF. So how are you
uh-huh.
feeling otherwise, man? Are we ready for the regular season?
Oh yeah, I'm ready. Oh, you know
So
how I
ready.
feel about preseason. Like, it,
Yeah,
it's it, it drags on too long. I want it to be over.
I
I
was
mean, I know
shocked you
these
even
guys are
answered
trying
any of
to.
my texts.
I know these guys are trying to prove themselves, but yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I just want the shit to be over with. And that's
yeah. Eddie doesn't
because a lot of the
entertain the
battles are
whole idea
already
of
decided.
preseason. Yeah,
Yeah, they're
yeah, I
already.
get.
I mean, these battles are already decided half the time. So I mean, we know who's gonna make it. Well, have an idea, and maybe some prizes here and there. But I mean,
Well, I like to
but
watch every detail because it's just like most games, even with Phillies games. Like I like to see detail, but I can tell
yeah,
when I
yeah.
only get one or two responses from you when I text you, and then I'm like, Eddie has fell asleep or he has changed the channel because he's no
No,
longer
I was
watching.
kind of. I actually was kind of just focusing on it. I didn't answer you back on it. I was like, oh shit, I didn't answer her back.
The last thing I text you was about Kennedy Brooks when he blew that open
Oh, I
pass.
was like, oh my god.
Yeah, that
I
was the
just
last
shook
thing I
my
sent
head.
him.
I just shook my
Yeah.
head on that one. I was like, he's not pleading his case to make the team the past few the past few games. He's like,
No, I felt like that's what most people were tweeting was that and he's gone, and I'm just like that's a shame. All right, so obviously we're speaking of Philadelphia Eagles versus Colts last night, last
mm,
preseason game at the link. Thank God it's over, but let's just be honest. This whole week has been pretty spicy between these two teams because there was a controversial brawl that happened that shut the
yeah,
practice
they
down early.
yeah they canceled the second practice,
They
didn't they?
canceled the second practice, so rumor is that Jalen Hurts was pissed because he's a worker, and he was like, "What the hell is this? Like, what's it have to do with the next practice?" But rumor is that he was upset because he liked to get his work in, but he wasn't playing anyway. So, um, but let's just be honest, preseason is a drag for us visually, but we all know what, like you said, we all know who we want to stay on the team at this point. We wanted to see what some of the rookies were. We already know
hmm
what we have in most of the Georgia Dog guys. Although, question on Keely Ringo right now. What about you? What do you think about Keely Ringo? Because I'm having a little bit of doubts about him.
Well, the thing is, he's not gonna have to play all the time anyway. I think he's serviceable still. I mean, I think he did enough to show that he can play. Because other than that one back shoulder one and one other one, he covered the guys pretty well. You
All right.
know, other than that, I mean, but he still had he gave up a touchdown, but that was a tough throw to
Because
defend too.
I get it that people say, because I'm still, me, I'm still confused with corner versus safety. I always get confused with what their positions are, but I know that most people say that corner is a hard position to, I guess, consistently play strong because depending on angles. But I know that what irked me in the last two games with Keeley was just that he has an issue with not turning his head in time to track the ball, and
Yeah,
so
and
that's what annoyed
that's a
me.
rookie thing right there. A lot of these guys don't learn that right away.
Yeah.
That's always a problem in the beginning.
So this is how they
Because a
learn with
couple times if he,
chances.
yeah, yeah, a
Yeah.
couple times if he'd have turned, he would actually could have caught an interception or two. He'd have turned around.
The
But
first time that
yeah,
happened, I think the first time that happened right after that, then he did a really good job at getting up in the face of the players, the defender. So
hmm
at that point, I mean, I think like I said, it is a rookie thing, but I think that's the only reason why I was like, okay, this is a different position though, because you have to consider Carter and why am I blanking on with the glasses? Why do I always do this? Nolan.
oh Smith,
Uh,
Nolan, yeah,
Nolan, yeah, those guys are obviously pretty certain starts this year because I think that Jalen Carter literally only had one play and they were like, and he's done. So I'm
yeah,
sure if
that
it was up to
guy.
him, Big Boy would have played longer because I don't think he
You
felt like
see,
he really got what he could.
you see his nickname? Call him
No.
Baby Rhino. And
Oh,
Slaves
that's
call
right.
him
Because
Baby Rhino. Yeah,
that's what Slay called him in the Slay's podcast
yeah.
is part of the volume. He called Jalen Carter Baby Rhino, which makes sense.
I
Um,
mean, he's a big boy. I
yeah.
think.
I know, and part of me looks at him, and I'm just like, I feel bad for all these backup quarterbacks or first time quarterbacks this year that might play against them this year. Um, since we played the Patriots, Mac Jones is going to get part of that. So Mac Jones will be the first victim.
I'm sure he's not. I'm sure he's not looking forward to that part either. I
Yeah,
mean,
and he's not a runner, so he better figure out ways to escape the pocket if he has to, because that dude's
or
coming
just
right at
fall
you.
down.
Or just yeah, just
Just get down.
but
Yeah, right.
just stop, drop, and roll. And Nolan, as we see, minus when he got hurt, I think he was ready to go back in, but obviously Nick wasn't gonna let him have his way and go back in
Nah, you don't do that right away. Yeah.
there's no need to, but you could tell when he was interviewed, he was just like, I could have went back in there, you know, it's
Oh, they
country. I
want to.
swear,
Yeah.
but I swear,
Yeah, we got
listening to
some. We
these
got some
guys
country. We
talk,
got some country boys.
I love it. Because I said to you 2 or 3 drafts ago, I said we need some big fat Georgia Southern boys, and lo and behold, we slowly started getting a little bit of the
Yeah.
Southern boys year by year. So,
That
um,
the other rookie looked good on the offensive line too. Yeah, one little mistake last night. A holding
mm,
call.
who was this?
Stein, the lineman.
That I don't know. Is that
He's,
the Van
yeah.
Struzen or something, dude? Is
No,
that
no,
him?
no. That's no. He's that's a linebacker. Van Merson
Okay,
is a
I was thinking
linebacker.
57. Okay,
Yeah,
I know
that's the linebacker. I'm
57.
talking about number 66 or 60. Oh
All
yeah,
right.
he's
Obviously, I wasn't focused on it. At least you said
Taylor Steen. Taylor Steen,
Taylor
I think
Steen.
is his
Okay,
name.
Steen. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
that's
he's
his
the one.
name. Yeah.
They were saying he was shaky the first game, but
Yeah, he looked
apparently.
okay. I mean, he made one little mistake, but I think he'll be good in
Yeah.
rotation. I just
So
need him
so the real
for
the real the real debate is whether or not this Dennis Kelly was even worth bringing back, because I'm seeing a lot of bad talk about him, and he's not really making much of an impact now that he's been
he
back with the
may
team.
I mean he may not make it just because of the other guys are playing better.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
I
And then
mean,
because nobody seemed impressive on that line pretty much last night, as far as from what I saw.
nah, the second team was it from the first two games, the second team offensive line looked pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, they look good. Third team, I don't know, but second
Third team is
team
probably what I'm
guys look
talking
good.
about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably talking about third team. Although the biggest shock of this game recently last night, obviously outside of the no need for Richardson to decide to do the flag or slide at the end of the
Oh,
touchdown, but
he's lucky
whatever.
he's not playing us on the regular season.
No,
Because
he is lucky. But here's the thing.
you
Here's
know
the
they
thing that
they're gonna gun for him if
right,
he
and
did.
but here's the thing with him, that it's hard for me to even want to get that mad, because I told you I liked him from the minute they selected him, and I'm shocked he's starting this year for the Colts. But I guess that's how confident they feel. This brother is
Yeah,
21 years old, 244 at 6'5", and he's only
yeah.
21, and he has that bass in his voice. Jesus,
I mean,
poor little.
I wish him well, but my thing is everybody's like so taken back by him. But I'm looking at it like this too. I'm like, okay, he was going up against second and third stringers. Like, stop
Noted,
trying to make and call a
noted.
spade a
Yeah,
spade. Like, stop
I
trying to
get it,
make
but
it sound like
let's just be honest
he's
in
great.
mechanics though. He has a
He's
great
gonna be
arm.
good. His mechanics are good. Yeah, his mechanics are great, but you got him. People keep forgetting he was going up against second and third
Two
team
and three.
defense.
No, I hear
Yeah.
you totally. But didn't you see a little flash of baby
Oh, he
Donovan?
looked good.
He's
Yeah, I
little
mean,
baby
like
Donovan to me at
that
times.
whole group of like Vince Young, Donovan, like
Yes.
because he's big, like
And
Culpepper, like just
when
big
he escaped
guys.
the sack, they still couldn't sack him, and he escaped. That
Oh yeah,
immediately made me
strong.
think of
Yeah,
Donovan. I was like, I know
hard to
that guy
take
was probably
down.
thinking, Jesus, get down. And he
Because
wasn't going.
he
He was
thought
like,
he swore he had him too. He's like, I got him. Like,
swore he did.
oh no.
Because he literally only maybe stutter stepped, and then he was like, yeah, next gear. But I thought he had an incredible arm from day one. I don't think the receivers could handle him on his own damn team for a while. Like, it
Well,
just seemed like
that's gonna
he
be
could
his
have.
problem.
Yeah,
Like Tennessee. I'm sorry. The Colts
Indianapolis.
are
Yeah,
not blessed with an abundance of talent. They don't have a lot of
yeah.
home
Michael
run hitters
Pittman.
on the. They don't have a lot of
Pittman
home
is
run hitters on their
overrated.
offense. Yeah, on their
Yeah,
offense, they don't have like we have a Devonta, we have a Smith and Brown. They don't have like that. They don't have it like that. They don't have two guys that can hit a home run for you like right out the door. You know?
and the fact that first the number one is Pittman, and he got hurt early again. I said this dude was hurt when Carson was there, so it's like I don't even know who
Yeah.
they're other than. And now with the Jonathan Taylor stuff, that's not going to help them much at all, especially if they're letting him seek a trade, which I think is
Yeah,
stupid because it
he
sounds like that
wants to come. He wants to come here so bad.
that would be nice. I just feel like
The
that would
thing is,
obviously
if he
not
comes here,
happen.
Penny's gone. Penny's
Yeah,
gone.
there's gonna be a lot of guys missing if he comes here, um,
Yeah, because Penny's gonna have
because
to go. Because where are they gonna put him at on the start if they keep? Because they
which
want to keep Swift.
that's what I'm saying. So my thing is,
Swift is
I
staying.
would be fine with Penny being gone. My whole thing is who else would have to go because it's gonna be they're gonna have to take people to get him, you know.
Yeah,
And is it guys that we're gonna miss that are backups that we might want later that we have to sacrifice now because if he comes,
yeah.
and
But
mind
we
you,
don't
I'm
want to
not
give up too
complaining.
many of our young guys. So
That's my point. So
yeah.
I would love him here. And then I don't know if you saw the post because I put a post on I saw off of the guys at ATD Radio on Instagram. They had a side by side of Taylor's jersey next to DeAndre Swift's and said, "Wouldn't it be funny if we had Taylor Swift?" You know what I mean? Because they stand next to each other and it'd be like Taylor
Yeah.
Swift, like what Fletcher Cox and Chris
Fletcher
Long
Cox
used to
and
stand next to each
Chris
other.
Long used to do.
Long
Oh my
Cox,
God,
Cox Long,
those
yeah.
two were freaking
Yes,
crazy.
they were fun. They were fun. But so the thought of that was fun, but then in my head I said, I don't even want to get excited about that ideal because that would be too perfect. Because they obviously still have one more big wham they could make before regular season if Howie's
But
really,
don't be
we all know how.
surprised. Don't be surprised of how he got it done though. Like,
No,
and still don't give up too much because he's a master of doing that.
and now I don't
Yeah.
know if you've seen also too. There's been an article or there was a think piece or something that came out that I saw briefly talking. I think Chris Long was actually talking to either the GM or somebody at the New Orleans Saints and talk about how Howie has had you know sassed him out of many deals in the past, and he realized he's like I'm done doing deals with Howie Roseman, and I said yeah because he done outsmarted your ass more than once, and I'm like it's
Oh,
funny when somebody
Howie,
finally says it. I told you
true
he's a sleeping
salesman,
car salesman. Yeah,
true salesman, and he just gets you.
I
I
told
swear
you.
he
I
has
said
pictures of these people's families. Some when
he
he
has some
walks in a
videos. Someone
room
said
and
Howie
throws it
got
on the
paid off
table.
somebody.
He walks in the room and throws a couple photos on the table. So what are we doing here?
So this is who I know that you know, and I know some unsavory
Yeah.
details about your past life. If you don't give me your firstborn, you know, I
Just
do
so
agree
you
with
can
that. But I like that that came out though because
so
to me that just proved it,
yeah, you sell a refrigerator to an Eskimo.
and that's my point.
Straight up.
So that's why I say everything I
Uh,
used to say before when everybody was like, "Oh, just let Howie be." I said no, but you have to understand, not every team is. A lot of teams are going to catch up to that shit eventually, like the way he fleeces deals
but they
because
haven't been. They haven't been doing it for years though. So I mean,
but that's what I'm
he's
saying. That's
always
why I say to have somebody finally speak it. That's why I'm saying somebody actually put it out there now, as opposed to just
yeah,
people just assuming. That's my point. So my
yeah.
thing is next year. Now that we're finally at a roster that we're pretty satisfied as fans, that's consistent.
Oh,
Don't think we're gonna get this lucky again.
we
Because
got a
once the
nice
old heads
window.
leave,
We
yeah,
got a
we do,
very nice window. I mean,
we do,
next 3 to 4 years, you can stay solid and be good, be a
and we
force.
can't say that we've had that in a while. So that's why I say with
Oh, it's been a
Howie,
long time.
he can count his blessings that we're at a point where we're even Super Bowl bound again with just this roster alone is a good thought, knowing that they were just there. Anyway, but my
Yeah.
point is so also seeing on the sidelines, there were a couple moments that during the whole preseason itself, not just this game last night, but they were more they stayed off the sidelines pretty much other than the interview with Kelsey. I don't know if anyone you watched the interview with Kelsey, which is kind of
Yeah, I
funny.
saw that. Yeah.
They talked about him because Kelsey's documentary is coming out on Prime on the 12th of September.
Which should be a good watch. Yeah, it should be a good watch.
It's probably gonna make me cry. I know it's gonna get me teary because we all know that this is his last year, and so to end his career on Lucky 13 with another Super Bowl ring would be lovely
Oh, it'd
for
be
him
perfect.
to go out. It would be
I
perfect
think
for him.
he would be balling. He'd be crying in the middle of Broad Street if that happens.
Yeah, yeah, he was crying. They showed him crying the night before the Super Bowl when they were all doing their final talk and stuff. So yeah, Kelsey is not he's not shy about being vulnerable about his emotions. So it's a good thing because the city is we're so over the top with our emotions and passion.
Hmm.
But I liked seeing 2 weeks ago, and people made fun of it on TikTok, but AJ laughing, Devontae laughing, and everybody was assuming they were laughing at Mariota because at that point Mariota was still in; he wasn't doing so hot. Now, mind you, we don't know exactly what they were laughing at. I
Yeah,
just want to point out that,
I'm sure they weren't laughing at him.
but
That's still
even
their
if they
teammate. End
were,
of the day.
that's my point. Even if they were, I just think it's funny because the timing of things when you put stuff on TV, how everybody assumes stuff. But it's
Yeah.
funny in general because we know how we fans are. We're me. I'm always tweeting. I mean, I know you don't tweet when I do in games, but I tweet every moment. And so most of the time when that was happening, everybody said, they're all thinking the same thing, like, "Ooh, it's gonna be a long season for Mariota," you know. And then they were showing, and
Yeah.
then somebody retweeted it, and I think even AJ came back like the next day and said, "I'm always smiling and laughing." He's like, "I just like to smile. I like to have a good time." And so I'm like,
Yeah, he does.
okay, which is not a lie. We all know that AJ. I always talk about his pretty teeth because I love his teeth. But I also like the fact that they all seem like they're generally joking on the sidelines. But I mean, let's be real. As fans, we know that's hella boring to sit there and watch a team that is in the early stages and you've
Hmm.
been there, done that. It's like, what else are they supposed to do? You know what I mean? It's not, even if they are
Yeah.
helping, they showed Kelsey helping with I guess those tablet things they're always looking at,
Yeah, looking at
in every
pictures, photo. Yeah.
yeah, trying to help guys. But I mean, like realistically, what are they going to do on the sidelines for the most part? Like if Jalen's sitting there probably itching because he's not playing, what else is he going to do? You know what I mean? Other than listen to the calls
Hmm.
in the earbud. So people have to understand, like preseason is not even just about visuals. It's just about the team trying to be sure that they know what these guys picked up anything from the
Yeah.
whole camp to begin with.
Hmm. Yeah.
Did it really register? But yeah, I can't imagine sitting there. Even watching, they were showing Jalen Carter yesterday. They were talking about him on the sidelines. He was just drinking and sitting there talking to a teammate. Like these guys have
Hmm.
to get chemistry down. These guys have to learn that some of these guys will not be back after this weekend. You know what I mean? There's going to be a lot of guys that maybe have gotten close and now they're
I
going to
mean,
be,
you're talking what, 37 are gonna walk out the door
yeah, that's a lot.
because
Because like you
they're up
just
to
said before
9.
we started recording,
Yeah.
yeah, 90 guys, you have to shrink down to 53 by next week. Yeah, a little pressure.
Hmm.
Although I
Oh yeah.
personally think I even said myself, I do not think it should be as hard as they try to make it seem. I think it's kind of obvious who needs to
Yeah,
stay and who needs to practice squad and
Yeah,
who needs to be yeah. So okay, so just to top it all off, who do you think on top of your roster now? I know we're not very good with names at this point. Like I don't have a roster list in front of me, but who are your guys? At least three
Who
guys
do I think could
are gonna
who do I think could make it surprisingly, or just in
right.
general?
Like throw out names you think who's gonna stay.
Well,
Because I have
like
a
some
lot
of
of
the
names.
obvious people, like we know Brown's gonna stay. We know, uh, because
Oh,
he's gonna
Sidney
be in that
Brown. I was like
rotation for
Brown who?
safety.
Sidney Brown.
Yeah,
Okay.
Sidney Brown. Yeah, we know he's gonna be here. I
Mhm.
think that kid Ellis looked good, linebacker looked good.
They've
He
been talking
looked
about him
good,
since
and
last season.
yeah, his brother got cut already though.
Yeah,
Yeah, and but I also think was it Van Merson, 57, the linebacker, a
that's what I was talking about.
big
Yeah.
boy. I think
Yep.
he'll because him and Sidney run around making tackles all over the place. I
They
think
were.
he'll even if he's not going to start, but he will be in that rotation for the linebacker position. I kind of like how Cunningham has actually shown that he can play
The
too.
Cunningham is what position? Defense or
Linebacker. He's going to
linebacker?
be
No,
on the other side of
oh,
he's
Doug,
going to be on the other
Zach.
side of
Okay,
what's name? Yeah, Zach
Zach.
Cunningham.
Okay.
Yeah, he's going to be on the other side of N'Kobe. So I mean, I think that I think Remerson is definitely could surprise and make the team. Who's that one kid? Uh, I want to say number
There's a lot of
30,
names. No,
Ricks. I think 30 Ricks may sneak on as a special teamer because he looked good.
I agree. I think that
And
he's on the
also,
bubble, but he just made it.
I think Devin Allen may actually make the team this year too. He looked good. He looked good doing returns.
Sorry, that boy did a lot of step backs and to get that break
He
off that 73 in the beginning, and then other ones that he could have went further, but he still kind of
he
shifted a
looked
little. So
he looked way better than Covey. I'm
way
just
better.
saying.
I
Yeah.
know. I
And then you
know.
see they
That's
got rid of that kicker already, even though I don't like Sipoff either that much.
the punter
He
situation is stressful. Let's just be
because
honest.
he's not consistent. Sipoff is not
No,
consistent either. But
no.
at the same time, Eagles don't punt that much. So
That's see, and
I'm
this is
just
why this
like,
pisses me. That's the only reason why I would think they would keep him is because of that factor. But yeah, go ahead.
yeah. Until they get a better punter, I'm saying they're going to stick with Sipoff because he knows the system already. You know, he knows the
What do you think
system.
about
He's
special
not.
teams in general, though? Do you feel like we're still in trouble with special teams? Because I do.
No, I think they're going to be better this year. Got some young, faster
Hey,
guys. I think they're going to be better. I think they may be a little better. Got to see
I'm
who's the coach this year. Did a different coach take over special
Michael
teams this
Clay.
year?
It was Michael Clay is still there. Yeah, that's the special teams coach.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
I
he
just
got
don't
some. I
feel
thought he
like
got
they
some
covered
decent
well.
talent, but we'll see what happens. I mean, the coverage
I just
team
don't
didn't
think they
look too
covered well.
bad. They didn't
No?
look bad. They didn't look bad in the preseason this year, but who knows? We can't. We won't tell until they actually start. And see how that works out.
All right, so who do you think is gonna get the
So,
boot?
who's gonna get the boot? You saw Greedy Williams already got the boot. He's gone. Uh,
Two guys already made the peace sign before they had a shot. Like him and Miles were like, "Yeah, we're done."
yeah, Greedy was like supposed to. They said he never picked it up. He just never picked it
That
up. That's
yeah.
why
So
he.
I'm like, why did he? Yeah, no passion, I guess anymore. Maybe he's
Yeah,
done. And who
they
else?
got a lot of guys, young guys in the back wise, but I can see sucks that one guy may not make it. What's his name? Lyman Johnson, 56 or 59. He may not make it.
Okay.
Because I don't know, he has a lot of mental errors, and he may just end up being a product of there's a lot of good guys on that line, so he may just
Yeah,
be the
yeah.
odd man out.
Hmm.
I want the Derek Barnett. I want the Derek Barnett experiment to be over, and they just
Should
let
be.
him go, please.
I
Because all
feel
he
bad.
does is make stupid penalties because he lets his attitude get in the way, and he makes dumb penalties and gets those unsportsmanlike conducts all the time. We have a good play, and he's
And
coming
I'm trying
back
to figure out
because
always
he's got a late
there?
hit.
Was that always there, or did it start after the Super Bowl year? Because we
Oh,
didn't seem to see a lot of
they
that.
said they said he had rules of just like getting into fights too much. Like all of a sudden, like I don't
See,
know
and
if
I had
that's
read
his
that
thing.
his brother got shot and killed too, so I was wondering maybe that's the reason why he started becoming undisciplined. Maybe he's
No,
just
that could be too.
because I know that
But
happened like the year after the Super Bowl, his brother got shot and killed. So I'm thinking possibly that could have ruined his whole mental state. But I don't know. Some people handle their anger differently. Maybe he's just become
true.
unfocused.
Yeah.
But and who else? Because I know you haven't said the name yet.
Oh, as far as getting cut, it's on the tip of my
Yeah,
tongue, and I want to say it, and I can't think of it
just
right
said before
now.
we started recording.
Oh, Brooks is gonna get cut. Yeah,
I was waiting
Brooks,
for you to say it because I'm just like that was.
and don't be surprised, Ian Book is gonna be gone too.
Yeah, I won't be
Yeah,
surprised. I didn't think he was even gonna play last night. I thought they were gonna stretch Tanner because he
yeah,
wasn't getting
Ian
touched
Book's
down there, make him
gone
drop
because
it.
Tanner's shown that he's actually better.
He throws a more controlled, chilled ball. He's good from the pocket.
Even though he can't
Even when
run
he
worth a
had to do his
damn, he
little
can't
giraffe
even.
run, he didn't do
Yeah,
too bad sliding either because he's so damn
because
tall.
he's so lanky. Yeah,
He's
so yeah, I
lanky
can
and he's
see.
like him and Anthony had a battle of the heights and throwing the ball last night. That was the battle really going on. Was the two
And it
quarterbacks. So
sucks for receivers though. Like I see,
he does.
I don't know if that kid Swain's gonna make it. I
Yeah,
wanted
he's
that
not.
kid. I don't think that kid from Army is gonna make it, even though he showed he got some talent.
Oh, you were
Hasselbrook,
talking about Hazelwood or
Hazelwood, yeah,
something. So,
Hazelwood,
yeah,
yeah. I liked
I told you
Hazelwood.
in
He
the
has
text.
some,
I think he was gone though because he had some bad plays
yeah.
last night. Some bad
He's got
drops.
some. He showed he has some decent hands in the first two games, and I don't know what he was thinking of last night, but
He had a bad night, but maybe he might be practice squad. Who knows?
yeah, I mean, guys like him. It sucks that Cleveland got hurt because
Yeah,
I
he
actually
had
like Cleveland.
he had good hands. Yeah,
I like Nada too, to be honest with you.
he's on the bubble, but I feel bad for him because he had a bad night last night. He had a lot of some.
Yeah,
I know one, but that one ball Tanner did was thrown behind him. I won't get on about that one.
yeah.
The one was
I
thrown
mean, with a
behind him,
better
but
quarterback, with a better quarterback, he shines though.
yeah, I
I
think he
mean,
still should at least sneak in there for at least like a reserve or something.
I still
Um,
wish he would trade Quez Watkins. I don't like his bitch ass. So uh,
I don't. You know what? Here's the thing with Quez.
I just don't like the fact I don't like how soft he plays. That is my complete problem with him.
I just told you if he
Like,
don't let defenders get in front of him this year, he's on my
yeah, he'll
redemption
be
list right
okay.
now.
Yeah, he'll be
Yeah,
okay.
if he redeems himself and stops letting people get in front of him and seeming so indifferent, then I'll be fine. But because he knows he's fast, but the problem is he took advantage of that last year and then he got played. So
Yeah,
he needs
he
to
letting those
understand that
guys.
it's
Yeah,
a lot of muscle
he lets people outplay him for the ball way too much.
way too often,
You
and
got a
that's
guy who's small, way smaller and skinnier than you are, and he doesn't do that ever.
you got Smitty out there looking like I mean I'm serious. Like Smitty to me makes me nervous sometimes. How many
Like he's
times
gonna
he's
get
caught
broken in
crazy
half.
balls.
Yeah,
Right, because
I mean
he's
he's
been
built.
reaching out Yeah.
Oh, he's fearless though. He will go up for the ball. He'll fall down. He don't care. But he
If you
reminds me.
saw the most,
He's
go ahead.
yeah. Yeah, he's built like he reminds me like he's built like Greg Lewis and Todd Pinkston back in the day. You know
Yeah,
how thin and skinny and frail
exactly.
those guys looked,
But the
but
difference
he
was
has way
between
more
him and
talent.
them is
Yeah,
what? Yeah, way more talent, and he was fearless. Although Greg Lewis, I have to admit, was not as timid as Pinkston was.
no, he
Greg Lewis
wasn't. No,
Greg Lewis wasn't afraid of the ball. I think Pinkston was because he was the
no.
one that always got it lost in the lights, supposedly. But the thing with Smitty though is because he's so small. Even he said he was just recently on the episode of the Pivot podcast, and he said that he had a couple balls that he let touch the ground or that they decided weren't catches. But we all know what he's talking about because there was at least 3 passes that should have been outruled as
One
they
of them at
weren't.
least was a catch.
One of them in
Yeah,
the
one
Super
of
Bowl
those was
was
a
a
catch.
catch.
That was a
Definitely was a catch.
catch. Yeah, I'm sorry.
They were just hating because they couldn't. It was what is that thing they call when they say like what they did in that one Cowboys game where they tried to say that it was hard. It wasn't clear evidence. What was the bullshit label they gave it? But it was so obvious
Yeah,
balls.
no evidence. Yeah,
Yeah, not clear
there's no
evidence or
clear
something. So
evidence. Yeah,
I hate
to
that. So
overturn the
that
call.
still irks me to this day because it was so obvious with the
But
camera
he
and the ball
made
right.
like the 3 steps and he switched the ball to the other hand. How is that not control?
It's because he's quick with
Yeah.
it, and that's why when the eye can't catch it on the camera, they think that, oh well, they just go by default. But they know that he's shifty. He thinks
hmm
on his feet even when he's like hitting the ground. And so if the eye can't catch it, they think, oh well, he didn't catch it. No, he did. It's just y'all didn't. It takes too long for them to figure that out in a snap of a minute.
Oh,
So
but that catch against Washington when he went up in the air
that was the
and
best
came
one,
all the
even
way
though he got
back
hurt.
down, I was like, oh my god. Yeah, he got winded from that because the way he landed. Yeah, he had to step
Yeah,
off for a little bit.
that's what I was worried about because I said that's my biggest fear is when he falls from that high, that's going to eventually start hit. That's going to hurt after a while because you keep doing it. But he's like weighs 10 pounds in the air, so it's like yeah, I'm gonna jump for it too because 9 times out of 10 I'll just land on somebody. It's not gonna kill him, you know.
Yeah,
But
right.
you know what I mean. I was in Miami and that was the day I couldn't watch the game because the stupid NFL Plus didn't let you watch out of market games. I was hot. I had to listen to that on the radio and it was killing me
I remember
because
you told me you was like, I bought this shit for that reason, and it won't let me
let me
watch. I
let me
was
just
like,
tell you,
no.
if they change that this year, because I'm not gonna do it, but I'm pissed if they'll add that feature because I know they mentioned something about out of market, and I thought that was false advertising because I'm like, I thought that was the whole point of NFL Plus was to buy it so you could
hmm
watch out of market games. Can I just tell
Yeah,
you that of all games was the game that I needed to see every freaking play because it was such an amazing game. Like they killed the it was killing me to be in Miami and not be able to see every detail. I had to settle for highlights. I was so annoyed. All right, let me
are you
get off
mad
of
at
that.
Jen?
Anyway.
Are you mad at Jen?
No, no, because she thought
He's
that
like,
I let her think I was watching the game the whole time while she was in the pool, assuming I was watching the game and I wasn't. I was listening to the radio and just had because I had to settle for the
oh,
Miami
nice.
game, watching Buffalo Bills and Miami game. That game was painful. Um, but anyway, so
hmm
long story short, yes, I agree with you with most of those. I think the guys that are gonna go are obvious is Kennedy Brooks. I'm with you. I do think that Eli Ricks has a shot at getting in there because Eli had a nice pick. And then that local guy that's from Philly, they literally just picked up, got that last pick last night. I forget
Yeah,
his last name.
he could be a special teamer too.
He might
I
be a
know you're
special
talking
teamer. He
about
might get on
number
practice
49. It
squad.
was 49. Number 49. Yeah.
Yes, he made a very good pick six. Almost. He didn't. No, he didn't. Yeah, he got out, but he tried to keep running, but his foot went out. But that was a good look for him because they said that Sirianni said as soon as I saw that guy coming, I knew that he just signed him. He said the first he's like, what's your thing? He said to him, he said, I said, hi, my name is Coach Sirianni. And I said to myself, I was like, he's like reintroducing himself, like just in case you forgot. Yeah. So, but like we said, preseason, that is what it's for. It's for guys they literally pick off the street. It's the guys that probably never got to really shake in the other team, so they get another look. Um,
hmm
that's what makes the preseason interesting. I personally thought out of all the games, last night was actually the one game that I actually thought was pretty entertaining compared to the other two. Because the other two you
hmm
kind of thought or hoped you at least see some of the starters for the first. And honestly, we only got there for like a quarter of the
Yeah.
first. So we already know that DeAndre Swift is going to be DeAndre Swift. So that's what's exciting.
Oh yeah, but that was yeah. It was good to see him run. It was
It was
a couple
definitely good to
good
see him run
runs.
because
Yeah.
he already had shifty feet from the door. So I said, okay, well now I'm
hmm
definitely not worried about him because he already looks like he's like no, nope, going this way.
Yeah.
And Jalen Carter, and then on top of the fact that the latest, if anyone watches those bits, what do they call them? Unscripted. The latest unscripted is all the Georgia dogs going to dinner. It's killing me because I want to know the restaurant. It looks like either Chima or Fogo de Chao. It's killing me because it looks like exactly one of those restaurants. But I loved it. So
Uh,
if you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's a very cute episode because it's showing how that whole day was like a dream for all of them guys to be together.
yeah.
Especially obviously shout out to Nakobe because we were dying to see Nakobe and he played good as he could ever play last week considering he only got so many snaps.
Hmm.
Definitely not worried about Nakobe. And like you said, if he's going
Nah.
to be with Cunningham, then that's a good look for the linebackers. I think they even brought back that Patrick guy that was hurt earlier, and he played last night too. So he's
Hmm.
obviously his leg injury wasn't that bad. So I'm not worried. I know by Tuesday, if there's any kind of shock, it'll be if like I don't know if they decide to like, and they won't do it, but like if they put like Ringo on practice squad, like that would shock me, you know. Um,
Yeah, that would be very shocking because the
that's what
thing
I'm
is,
saying.
he'd had to clear waivers and make the practice squad. So, but he
So
wouldn't because somebody would snatch him up. So I
that's my
don't think they
point.
would let him. I don't think they
But
would let that happen.
that's why I say between what you and me just said, nothing is really going to be shocking come next week. Who gets cut and who stays? Um, I mean, honestly, it would be really shocking if they decided to let go of Mariota, but we know that's not going to happen because they gave him
Yeah,
money. So they're not
McKee's
gonna.
not ready to. He's not ready to be a second string yet.
No, he's not.
McKee,
But
nah.
we realistically want Tanner to go up to 2, but they're so adamant about not doing that just because he had a good game. I still think he played good last night. He just had a lot of balls that just weren't caught. So I don't even think the lack of touchdowns was his fault. You know, they
Yeah,
were on their way to one, and Kennedy dropped the ball. I
yeah,
think
the
the problem
fumble.
too was
Yeah,
he fumbled, yeah, dropped, fumbled, whatever he went. He didn't do anything with it. He was wide open. And I could hear the commentators hearing Al Michaels even say, "Oh, and he was wide open." I just was like, ugh.
yeah,
That was one of those moments I'm just like, that was your only shot, kid. You got plenty of chances.
because
But
he had
anyway,
one last week too. I mean,
that's why. Yeah, that's why last night was such a big disappointment because that was like, hello, welcome to the NFL. If he had caught that, you know what I mean? That would have been because I mean we saw Trey Sermon got the ball a lot last night. He made a lot of good runs. Um, he would have been
scored a
gone even a couple.
touchdown.
Yeah, scored a
Yeah,
touchdown. He's very good up the middle. There were even times that even the O line did kind of part the seas for him very well for the most part. But like I said, for backup O line, that's not bad for the starters. So that's actually not a bad look for them. Third stringers
no,
obviously gonna be third stringers. So it obviously got very snore fest in like the fourth quarter. But
yeah,
but
yeah,
knowing even Book even almost getting a shot to get a touchdown at the end of that game in them last seconds, he couldn't even control
hmm
that ball. So that's to me a sign that
yeah.
Book is definitely not coming back. Um, question is if there's anybody that's going to come back who's trying to get back into the NFL, this is shocking. I'm just going to ask you this question just before we end. If you had a chance to get either Cam or Carson Wentz back, who would you want to come back on your team as a veteran backup?
Oh God, both.
Because
It's
both
like,
can
do you want me to
honestly throw
shoot?
good balls. Let's be honest.
Do you want me to shoot myself or stab myself? Is what you're
Right, that's my
asking me.
point. So, but because both have
um,
made points to say that they want to come back in, but
I mean, they're both head cases too. So, uh, I don't know. I'd have to lean.
exactly,
I'd have to lean towards Cam because I,
I said the
you
same
know,
thing.
if Carson's last few outings were better, I would say I'd go with Carson. Yeah, I don't know. Unfortunately, yeah, he was on a shitty team too at that point.
Hmm.
And so, I mean, okay.
Right.
I mean, but uh, it just sucks for him. Like, even if he did put a good foot forward, the team didn't help him out. The defense gave up a lot of points still too, a few
He had a
times.
crappy O line in Indy, and then Cam being in the Patriots, kind
And
of
then
not really, you know,
yeah,
a full taste of
and then in
the
Washington, it wasn't a great marriage either because
no.
they really didn't. Well, we know how Washington doesn't give. Sometimes they don't give their quarterbacks a chance. Look what they did. They should have kept Kirk Cousins.
Or even
They
homie that backed him up. I thought they were going to just come right back with him.
yeah.
You
They're
know what I'm talking
horrible
about.
in how they treat their quarterbacks. Yeah,
That's my point. Like, I thought he should have started this year instead of Sam Howell, and now they're kind of throwing Sam Howell, even though he says he's ready. But I mean, he has no choice to say that. But even though he's looking
yeah.
pretty
What is he
good,
gonna
I'm like,
say?
that's also
Yeah.
preseason. Yeah, exactly. So it's preseason. I'm just hoping he don't look bad in regular season. They're trying to put all the pressure on him. But I think they should have
Mm-hmm.
brought that Taylor guy back, Heineke. That's it, Heineke, because he
Yeah,
played
tonight.
so
Yeah,
well against us in that second game that they stole that game because we gave it to him. But I just felt like that made sense. Come back, bring Heineke, and then if he's bad, then start Sam Howell mid-season. That's how they should have did it.
yeah.
But I
I
don't think
mean,
Ron Rivera even knows how to coach anymore personally. But that's just me.
yeah, and I like Ron Rivera too. This is sad.
I do too, but I feel like it's
Yeah,
starting to show like he's in over his head. I think a lot of stuff
yeah.
in the press, like some of the answers there's been a controversy about how he's responded back when they were talking about the former chief coach that is over there now as the
Mm-hmm.
assistant coach, and how or not the players are receiving him well and stuff, and he didn't really handle that
Mm-hmm.
kind of talk very well. Like, he's not very good at handling controversy. um
No.
he doesn't know how to address it head on. So I just feel like, and I know, understanding with social media with coaches, I mean, that usually shouldn't apply to them, but when you hear a lot of smack talk about somebody and then you kind of almost like agree with it but then not really, and then not know how to backtrack when they bring it up to you, it's like, you
Mm-hmm.
know, figure it out, dude. It's like when people are talking, you have to remember your story. Like, and he's probably,
Oh.
his head is so, but his head is so not in gossip that he's so out of the loop.
Oh
So that's
yeah.
why I say it's like it's not a good look for him now. And I don't want to kick a man like him because I respect him as a coach. Like, he dealt with many struggling years in
Oh my
Carolina.
God. Yeah.
Speaking of which, with
Yes.
Cam, and they almost had a Super Bowl. So that's why I feel with him, it's like, yeah, you respect him as a coach as a long term, but I think there's just a certain thing. And honestly, I'm just thankful. Like I said, our team is in a solid second comeback year after a Super Bowl run where we don't feel like they're even a tad bit shaky because you know how everyone says
Oh
Super
yeah.
Bowl hang.
You don't. Yeah, you don't feel that slump coming on that people get when they go to the
That
Super
this
Bowl.
is
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Other than the usual talk about people thinking, I don't think they're going to be 14-3 this year, and I'm like, they very well may not be, but I don't think they ain't going to not go to the playoffs either. I don't think
Yeah.
they're not that horrible of a team. They're going to fall that fast. I just think, if anything, they got everybody on tape except for the new guys.
Hmm.
So defense may come a little different this
I
time
mean,
early in.
hey, if people are talking about you and saying your ceiling is 14-3 and and the low is 12-5, that's damn good. You know,
11
especially
and
if you meet
6,
it, especially if you meet in the middle. I mean, they meet in the middle. That's still perfect. That's a great season. They can take that. They can do what no one's done in a while. Go back to back in NFC East, which I think they were the last team to do it.
I'd say the lowest they do is 12-5
Yeah,
because
that's the
there's
lowest. That's
there's
what people are
five.
saying. Like 12-5 is like that's the lowest they're gonna go. Like,
Yeah, usually the
I
five
mean,
losses is either one or two of the division games and then a couple
yeah,
of the away games. So
yeah. I mean, and
you
their
know,
schedule is tough. It is tough on paper. Yes, give it that. But remember, but the Eagles are good on paper too. So I mean, that's just
and you just never. The only time that I honestly will worry about an obvious loss to me is when they go to Kansas City. To me, that's the
yeah,
only obvious loss, and that's only because by then, and you also don't know about Mahomes, so
yeah,
we don't know
yeah.
what's going to happen because Mahomes has some funky seasons and then comes out in the postseason all the time. So he could not be very much
Hmm.
the full Mahomes by then, and they could have a
Yeah,
win.
we don't know. Yeah,
Yeah, but we also know
that's true.
everybody knows what state they care about the most this year is when we play San Francisco, and that's
No,
going to be the
fuck.
only game we really
Yeah.
freaking care about. A home
Excuse my
game
language.
that will probably be
Pardon my
sold the freak
language,
out.
but fuck the
Yeah,
49ers. Sorry.
that's going to be a
Hate to
sold
say it
out
like
game.
that, but
No, 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 no. Be real, because we know that's the
I
game that
just
we really are going to be rowdy for. Let's be honest.
I
We wish it
just
was
lost
earlier.
respect. I lost respect for them because it's the way they handled that
Too.
loss. Like
I did
they had
too.
a
And
way they
now look
handled
how
that
they're
loss,
treating Trey
and
Lance. Look how they're
yeah,
treating Trey
that
Lance
too.
now. I
That
don't like
too.
that shit.
Poor.
They're
I
throwing him
don't
out
like the
for
way
the
they.
for the dangling him.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
know. But let's be honest. What that is the game of the year. That's our new Cowboys game this year.
I was
Now
hoping
that
that was going to be the first game of the season. I wanted them to open with
me
that one.
too, me too.
I
Let's
wanted I wanted that NFC revenge game to start. Like,
To me,
like
that
rematch.
tonight, does that not scream like that's what it should have been? Like, don't you usually face your opponent in the first like 3 games? I would assume Kansas City would have even been game 1 or 2. You know what I mean? Like the
Yeah,
schedule sucks this year for us. Like we kind of got gypped, but
but
maybe it's practice season, basically.
at least for the first time in a
We
while,
warming up to be like
Amazon.
4-0.
Yeah, at least for the first time in a while, the Amazon game, first Amazon Prime game is actually going to be a good game.
The
You got the
third,
Eagles and the
yeah.
Vikings, which
Oh yeah,
is going to
yeah, yeah,
be
yeah. Because week 2 is
they
Thursday. Yeah,
they're kicking that off. Yeah, they're kicking that off. Which is probably because
that's good.
remember how shitty that schedule was for Amazon. I'm sure Amazon was pissed.
Bad. And that was the first year that Al Reynolds was doing it last year. He was miserable last year because he all the
Like all
games
that
sucked.
money that Amazon
All
paid
that
out to get
money.
those Thursday games, and they gave them
They
the
couldn't even get a
shittiest
decent
schedule you
matchup.
could possibly imagine.
There might
Half
have
of
been
them I
only
didn't even
one.
want to watch.
Let me
I
just tell
didn't
you,
watch
one
half of them.
1 or 2 games I may have watched on Thursday night last season that were decent, and they might have
I
started
watched
out
part
good
of
and then
them.
like whimpered. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I watched
Because
like half.
Thursday's not when you think about it. Yeah, and so when you get a deal like that, they try to sell it to you, and then the whole lineup's like really whack. It's like talk about acting.
Yeah,
That's a lot of acting you
yeah,
got to do for a contract like that. Like, and then the fact that it's
yes.
not even Collingsworth and what's his name now? It's Kirk or Herb Street and Al Reynolds, which is even weirder because I just look at Herbie and say, "You should be on college football today. What are you doing here?"
What are you
You talk
doing
about
here?
they wanted a new face. He was sick of Collingsworth or something. He was just like, "I need a break." But Monday Night Football is going to be different. They decided to make it with my boy Marcus Spears and all them, and I think it's going
Oh,
to be
okay.
fun. I think it's going to be funnier. Of course, Maria, I think
Mm,
is part of it. So I think it's going to be funny this year, and because Monday night was starting to lag. I feel bad they got rid of Susie because she's like a veteran of ESPN. I kind of was shocked that they got rid of her, but she's the only one that keeps
yeah.
it like very journalistic type, and but I think they're
Well,
keeping
she was
Lisa.
good. She was definitely good at what she did. I mean,
She was
that's.
there's some women on ESPN that are just you respect them because they've been there since God was a
Mhm.
boy. You know what I
and
mean?
they and
So
they and they know like Sage Still, Mina Kimes, like they know their job. They know what they're talking about. Like they talk, and you're like, oh, you want to listen to them because they're not just some random person they got because she's cute. You know,
I
she actually
respect Mina
know.
over Sage because
She
right now I don't
actually
like
she she actually knows what. Yeah, Mina knows what she's talking about. She can break
Mina
down
knows what she's
play.
talking about.
She can break
Sage,
down
I don't know. Sage now I
plays.
question
Yeah,
her because she's
I don't
been
think Sage
real.
knows a lot of football. She don't know a lot of football. She don't
You
know
know,
much about
shit.
football. About football.
She's moving on to Fox. So you see where her brain's been. She been mad since
uh,
Jamel and all them left because she didn't feel part of the squad. Now she's trying to act like she ain't black, but whatever. Anyway,
yeah.
anyway.
But
So,
but
yes,
but
talk
we
about
need
Mina.
to. Yeah, Amina's good. I
Mina's our
enjoy.
girl.
I enjoy watching her on that. What's that show? As a Partner
The podcast
Interruption.
she has, Partner
Not Partner
Interruption,
Interruption, and the other one they do with that our boy.
first
What's his name?
first take,
He he's
first
always
take.
on there. Old dude. He's always on the older
Oh, when she
guy.
used to be on with what's his name? Yeah, that has his own podcast show now that left. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I forget. I know which one. I'm blanking, but yeah, that's the guy that always he did an interview
the
with
one
her
that they get
actually.
when they get points for talking. Because
Yeah, and he said his
Bahami is always
father.
on there too. Yeah,
Yes, Poppy.
yeah, it's always good.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's always a
yeah.
good show.
Yeah, Mina makes everything interesting, and then also I think that she was also interviewed on the Pivot this year too, and she's one of those people that you can tell gets a lot of respect as a woman who's not technically like a sports person, but because she has such smarts for the analytical portion of it, is what makes
Hmm.
her very interesting. And then she's also just increasingly sarcastic, which is hilarious. But she pisses a lot of people off on Twitter, which I think is interesting because
Oh, it's
I
great.
would think someone like her is timid, but because she's so smart, I don't think guys are ready for her comebacks. She's very witty.
Always love Joy. So that's my girl.
We all love Joy.
Joy is
Joy is my
yeah.
Joy is my girl. She is one of those people that I've just they can't handle her
Joy
on anything I've
and Joy's
noticed.
not to be fucked with either. She will
She's
tear
not to
right
be fucked
into
with.
you.
She's not scared. She's one of those girls that is
I
she's been about
love watching
sports.
her and Shady on that show together. Her Shady, even though I can't stand
Shady came up. I didn't think Shady was gonna last because I thought Shady's just mad because he just
even
didn't
though
really get.
I don't like what's name that much.
I don't think
I
anyone
always
likes
want.
Acho right now. Acho's kind
Hey,
of
I don't like Emmanuel Acho that much. I mean, he's okay, but he's not my favorite part of that show. I Joy and Shady are my favorite parts of that show.
Nacho
I
is
just love
too
it.
like Jay Leno-y, like Showtimey. He's like not really. He doesn't seem authentic. I
Yeah,
think that's why people don't
I
like him,
just like when Shady gets like all hyped up and he's like, especially talking
especially
about
when
the
he talks about the
birds.
Eagles. Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
god.
He will get hype in a
Yep.
minute. He literally has flown the flag in the studio. Like, dude is
You run
capable.
around, runs around with it. Yep, I
Runs
love it.
around with it. He will get, yeah. So Shady has come up a lot and now that they're deciding too that Stephen A. Smith decided he's going to come back with we were just talking about Shannon Sharp a couple weeks ago. So Shannon Sharp and him are doing First Take, but it's also going to be him, Shannon Sharp, Irving. It's going to be the Black Pastors podcast loud ass
Oh my
show
god. They
in
going to church.
September. They're going to church. I'm telling you, I call them the loud ass deacons. They're going to be the loud ass deacons in the shirt in
Oh
the
my
suit show.
god. This has the
Turn your
potential to be
volume
very
down.
good and also very you may not want to watch it all the
I'm telling you, you ain't gonna have
time.
the head for that every morning. I'm telling you, because they
Nah.
already shout enough
Uh-uh.
when they're on First Take. So if you have the three pastors and or the three deacons, as I like to call them, you better
The three
turn your volume down
deacons.
to a nice 20, a nice 15. Anyway,
No, but before we go, we got to talk about the Phillies just a little bit. Remember,
okay. So yeah, thank you for
just a
reminding
little
me
bit.
because
Yeah, just a
Eddie
little
knows
bit.
that he tells me to just keep it under an hour, but sometimes stuff comes up.
I know
But
we just get caught up too. I mean, I
we
get
get
it.
caught up.
So
But Phillies, we want to talk about the fact that this is their last couple swings of games. But have we
yeah,
felt like they are lucky if they're at the top of the wild card? But do we feel like these losses should have been wins in the most recent series due to the fact that these bats get real tired early, but then they seem to try to come back in the last couple innings and
they
hope it
don't.
works?
I do like the fact that they don't give up anymore. I love to see that now. Like you don't see
Yeah,
them cashing it in because that's what got them far last year,
yeah.
and that's why they got that nickname, the Fighting Phils, because they never it's not over until that
Mhm.
final out for them.
Mhm.
So I mean, I think the pitching is settling in. I don't know what's going on with our boy. Uh,
Ranger. Yeah, Ranger
no,
started.
not even Ranger. Ranger.
Not
I'm
Ranger.
talking more. I'm talking more of supposed to be their ace. I'm talking Nola. Nola's been shit in the bed a lot lately. You know, and
You know how I felt about Nola. I've never defended him, but go ahead.
I mean, he showed. I mean, he's a good pitcher, but I don't understand what goes in his head. Like all of a sudden, he's giving up home runs like crazy lately. I don't know. Have you noticed that?
He gives
Giving
them
up
up
a
early,
lot
but
of home runs.
that's why I told you, I said he gives them up early or he gives them at the weirdest moment when you just start thinking he's getting control. And then it's like, what the freak happened? Like his arm just goes limp. I don't know what's
and
going on
and
either.
then he hardly ever settles in after he starts doing it. Ranger will give up a home
Right.
run, but then you see Ranger, he'll throw 3 innings of
Tighten
like
it up.
scoreless. He'll tighten it up. I don't think anything affects that man.
No, I can't tell if he's
I
frustrated or
don't.
not. Ranger doesn't have emotion. He
He
pretty much is the same
he
expression.
he does not get rattled at all. It's like he's got ice in his veins. He was like, "Oh, hey Ranger, your house is on fire." He was like, "All right,
Okay. Go get some
all right."
water.
He's like, "I got." He's probably like, "I got insurance." Okay, he
Exactly. It'll
just
be fine. Build another one.
yeah,
No,
right.
there
That's
there are
just
times that I do worry about I worry about Ranger, like I said, consistently more than Nola because Nola has always kind of pissed me off with the inconsistency.
hmm
I think I got a little nervous once I started noticing Lorenzen started getting a little shaky the last few innings. Now I knew I didn't expect a complete game from him all the time, but now I'm starting to be like, all
hmm
right, dude, like you got to figure out how to lock this in because now he's starting
I
to
think
bleed
he'll be
home.
okay. I think he'll be okay for the
I hope so
playoffs. He'll be all
too.
right.
He's still
Yeah.
kind of the newie, so we can't really get on him too hard. He hasn't had that much of a sample size,
How
but
about how about Tion Walker? I mean, Walker's been
he's
he's
getting
got
better,
more.
but he's better than what people thought he was going to be. It looked
I
like
mean,
early, so
he's got
early.
more wins than anybody in the National League. I
But then
mean,
also Sanchez, the same thing. Sanchez doesn't seem like he's very noticeable, but then half the time he loses games is because they don't give him support. You know, even if he does get hit around sometimes, he can keep a consistent stance. It's just they don't give him run support or something blows up and then they end up like losing the game. So I don't put that on Sanchez. I
yeah,
think it's also been kind of a dark horse out of the pitchers. Um, but yeah, you're right.
yeah.
I mean, outside of the obvious
We're still
blur,
looking better than we did last year, as far as pitching is concerned.
I just get nervous when they do get because you can't be expecting like that last game they blew, even though they won the series with the Giants. I kind of felt like there's no reason for them to have gone into 10th inning. That game should have been a wrap in the ninth.
Yeah,
And that's where it bit them. Like to me, Reese is missing right now is that extra bat because sometimes when the offense goes cool, that's really what causes them to lose games that they should win. You know what I mean? And that to me is a
Mhm.
factor in the playoffs when they start getting hit around a lot and they're not going to be able to come back from it. That's where
Yeah.
I'm about them in the playoffs. Like they're not going to be able to bandage some of the times that the bats go cold because Bryce can't always hit that ball out the park like he's been doing. Thank God he's coming back,
He's starting to
but
come back alive again, which is
a
nice to
lot,
see. This
which
is the
is very
best
good.
time for them to hit his stride. He needs to hit his stride now.
Yeah. So this is
Like,
his month. But going into September, we need JT to be consistent because without Reese being that extra bat, like sometimes it's not going to be Trey,
mhm.
sometimes it's not going to be Stott, even though Stott and Marsh have been most consistent.
How's
But
Marsh? Did you see him back in the lineup yet? I know he was
yeah,
injured, so
yeah, he
okay.
played in the outfield and I did see him hit a couple times, but yeah, he's fine. I just think that that's the only thing to me that makes me nervous is when you miss someone like Reese who sometimes came in when everybody was starting to cool off. You
Mhm.
need that extra insurance bat, and sometimes
I
that's
mean,
what makes them games.
if they can make a deep run, we could see Reese play this year again. If they
I
can
mean,
get
he's been running.
okay.
They've been showing him running and training, so he's
No, but as
getting
far
there.
as like, yeah, they said he'll be available if they can get some October baseball on their belt this year. I mean,
Highly
Reese will
possible.
be available. Yeah.
Highly possible. I just get nervous because I think even Tyrone brought this up that if they get decent pitching with other teams, that's where they go cold. A lot of other teams have better pitching than them consistently, and so if they go in those type of games and start losing early because the pitchers are hitting them crazy, I mean throwing at them
Hmm.
crazy, and they get cold too often, they're not going to be able to save themselves in the postseason. They'll be one and done.
Yeah, but
So
our
that's
main
my biggest
problem, yeah, but our main problem last year, like getting to it was tough getting there because a lot of the pitching was like, okay, you didn't
concern.
have a fifth starter, you didn't have this,
Hmm.
like they had a lot of bullpen games during the playoffs, which is
Right,
insane.
right.
When you already run a shorter man rotation then. So the fact that you don't have enough guys to even
Hmm.
to cover that's bad. Like at least this year we're looking a little better. We can actually have a normal run rotation. We'll actually can save up our bullpen and not have to worry about like whatever,
Hmm.
you know.
Or they have
I mean
Alvarado coming
honestly,
back too.
yeah, as long as Alvarado comes back. And honestly, if Rangers struggling starting, Rangers great coming out of the bullpen too. He did it while he
Hmm.
was starting too last
Yeah,
year.
he doesn't
So
have to start all the time. If he's still struggling starting, then they can just make him be like that bridge to the eighth or whatever guy. So
yeah,
they can move him
because
around. But you're right.
he can come in and give you 3 innings, 3 solid innings still. You know, so
And this is all we hope. We just want them to finish the regular season out, not panicking about even leaking now that they're at top of the wild card. There's just that Giant series could have been a sweep, and I fear that sometimes those moments where their bats go silent one night after like a spectacular like 12-3
yeah,
showing the
the
prior night,
floodgates open up. Yeah,
floodgates open, and then the next night they're like they can't even lift
just
their bat.
dry,
Everybody's
just
fatigued.
dry.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, but I'm excited. Here's to the Phillies because we know they're postseason bound. We just hope it's a longer run again, just like last year, because no one probably saw the World Series coming at all last year. So
Hmm.
that's what makes every year more exciting when they start picking up around this time in the late summer. So we want them to go in the fall and red October. So here's
Oh
to
yeah.
our Phils.
I
But
need
all
to buy
right,
my Red October shirt this year. That's what I want to get. So.
I didn't have to buy mine. So my lucky friends at 97 Fanatic gave me my Red October shirt. So
Oh,
I'm
nice, nice.
when I went to go visit time, I got all those shirts and I got those flyer socks and all the stuff. So I'm good.
Oh, that's
I
cool.
am, yeah. But all right. Well, birds of a feather. Thanks for letting us chat again. Me and Eddie will be back next week. Actually, we're probably going to take another week off because they got 2 weeks before regular season. So we may just
Yeah,
want to
they do.
throw in a pod before they start talking regular season. But it's been fun. I'm glad this preseason is over. We're done with the
Yeah,
experiment. But like I say, I'm going to sign out this way. AJ, the Suburban Princess. Eddie B,
Eddie
birds
B.
of a feather. We
Hello.
flock together. Y'all have a great week and just the rest of your summer. Happy Labor Day. Peace out,
Yo,
babies.
yeah.
Bye bye. Awkward. Where's the button? Do it every time.